Welcome to Her Side of Campus, the show where ideas spark action and voices ignite change. I'm your host, Komal Iqbal, and today we're deep diving into a conversation that just might change the way you see the world. I'm excited to welcome three inspirational guests. The first is Gill Kirkman, who has been instrumental in the first campaign at the University of Bradford regarding the 16 days of activism to eliminate male violence towards women and girls. It started with an idea and a short discussion with now co-founder of the campaign, Samea Mahboob, president of Social Justice Society. And then the magic happened. The campaign went from local to global with the involvement of Pakistani media through the coordination of Mohammed Idrees. So buckle up. This episode is about to take off as we have the conversation about how it started, what it means, who got involved, and the legacy we have started both here on campus, in the community, and across the world. Stay tuned to find out how you can get involved and make a difference.
Thank you for the introduction. So for those listening, I'm Gill. I'm assistant professor in social work here at the University of Bradford, and I've been involved in research looking at male violence towards women and girls for almost 10 years. So this is almost part of who I am. And I came to the university 2 years ago and wanted students, academics, the community to really pull together to look at what is an international campaign that's been held every year for decades now, to come together to look at how we eliminate male violence and how we begin to challenge some of those male behaviours. And so one day I just happened to start talking about the 16 days of activism, and I wanted students to get involved, particularly the Social Work Society, which is the Social Justice Society. And I have to say, when I first said, so what are we doing for the 16 days of activism? I was initially met with, sorry, what? 16 who? What? When? What's that? And then as soon as I explained what it was and why it was so important, then my co-founder, Samea, took one look at me and went, I'm in. And that was the start of what had to be a really quick turnaround in terms of what we were going to put on for the campaign, because we didn't have a lot of time. And Samea was instrumental in engaging students and bringing together other communities, other societies, to ensure that across campus people were very much aware of how they could get involved through activities and presentations and lectures and cinema evenings and all sorts of different things. But Samea is also phenomenally connected and has a phenomenal network, which she'll talk to you about now, and then introduced Idrees, and it took off big style.
It did. It just took off, and thank you so much, Jill. Thank you so much for your lovely words. And thank you so much for explaining. Can I go a step back?
Of course, please.
So what happened before, that's exactly what happened. Induction day, and you whispered 16 days. And I'm like, hey, what's 16 days? What is that? And then when you explained, it kind of resonated. Mm-hmm. My very first tutorial with you, I am your student. I was your student. So I one day booked in at, I think this is really, really mandatory to mention this. I went to get some help for my assignment, but the conversation is curved towards the domestic violence. And it happens to be that I've got my own radio show. The first radio show was about domestic violence.
That's right. Yeah.
And you brought your studies.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the social perspectives. We talked about the immigration part of it. We talked about the disadvantaged communities. We talked about different things. And when you explained to me what 16 days is, I linked that together, and it was like, yes, I'm in it.
I think some of that is people not understanding the prevalence and some
Absolutely.
of the statistics that you bring in. And I think, when we recognise that every 10 minutes globally a woman is killed by a partner or an ex-partner, that we have almost 3 women a week killed by domestic abuse by a partner or ex-partner, and that those women trying to flee domestic abuse are more likely to commit suicide, take their own life, which can be between 6 and 10 a week, then I think you and lots of people around us that we were talking to suddenly went, okay.
Exactly.
Okay. We need, because the statistics are getting worse, not better.
Yeah. That's, we will talk about that as well in this episode about statistics. But before we go towards that, thank you so much, Kamal, first of all, for inviting us for this podcast. It's amazing. And thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Now we're going to introduce the person who made this campaign, 16 Days of Activism from Gender-Based Violence, from local to global. How did it happen? What happened? Our third guest in this podcast is Mohammed Idrees. Mohammed Idrees, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kamal.
Of course.
And your team, amazing team, to help us to be here and to talk about 16 days of activism against gender-based
Violence.
violence. Yeah. So it all started like you already explained, Gill and Samea. Thank you very much. And again, when you discussed with me, so I wasn't sure what was happening. I said, what? Explain to me what kind of role you want me to play, being a media person, as I have like experience of radio for nearly 35 years and 16 to 17 years of television work, being a reporter and a presenter. And I thought, yes, we can bring it to international level. So from local to global, we can do it together collectively. And it all started. And then I consulted with my media friends, and they were not sure what was happening. Then we had few meetings. Personally, I try to understand the purpose of that campaign and the involvement of my team and what impact it will leave and the message, how message would be conveyed or spread to the world. Actually, I like the idea and have been part of activities, then started media work involving my team, my media friends.
Do you want to mention the names?
And I will do. So I'm grateful to you, to your team, Gill, Samia, your team, and Social Justice Society, and also my media team. They have been fantastic, very helpful, and all the reports were played globally, and message was conveyed impactfully and in a powerful way.
It made it to the Pakistani national TV, didn't it? PTV.
Very first time, yes, PTV played a report, full package. And it was not only for like Social Justice Society, it was for Bradford, it was for England, it was for UK, it was for us, for all the communities.
Yeah. You made it a very worldwide thing, which I think is very amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kamal.
Yeah, that went all above and beyond all expectations, I think. And from my perspective, what was really lovely, Idris, in terms of who you brought in, was predominantly men.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really important message, that men were really getting behind the campaign, really understood the fact that this is a male issue, not a female issue, and that men really have to take a look at how they behave, how they act, etc. And the men that you brought in were just beautiful male role models that really helped accentuate the fact that if we are going to do anything about this campaign, men have to be involved. They have to lead, they have to show compassion, and they have to challenge other men to change their ways. And I think having so many men on campus capturing what was going on interviewing people who were involved, of which were many men. I have to say that a big shout out to my social work colleagues at the university, both men and women, professors and lecturers, all got behind it. But I think you also brought in people from the Muslim faith community, from mosques, to really stand by us.
Yeah.
And
Two
to say,
biggest celebrities.
yeah.
Tassif Khan, the world's, super flyweight world champion Tassif Khan, the first ever Pakistani British rugby player who played for the national team and for Pakistan on international level. I think the biggest celebrities were the role models, advocating for gender-based violence. I think that was the huge, both men.
And still are. I mean, we're busy campaigning already, Kamal, for this next 16 days, wanting to make it bigger and better and to build on. But Ikram and Tassif have come and just said, what do you need?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah.
And to be involved even more than they were the first time. And I think that's the beauty of it. Once we get the message out, which we did last November, the 16 days runs from the 25th of November to the 10th of December. During that, many men got involved and realised the impact that they could have, not only on themselves, but locally, nationally and internationally, that it's really boosted people's interest to want to come back and make those 16 days bigger than before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're even thinking about for Reclaim the Night, putting in more placards because we're so sure that more people are going to be involved. We're really trying to be as prepared as possible to get as much people involved for every single event going on for 16 days of activism.
You're going to need a lot more placards, Kamal, I'm telling you now, because I think through the work of Idrees and Samea and myself that a lot of the communities outside of campus that are working with female victims of domestic abuse, honour-based killing, etc., heard about it. Mm-hmm. And I have had an awful lot of emails from the local authority, Bradford Children's Trust, organisations and charities saying, we heard what you did. Yep. How can we get involved? So we've talked about Reclaim the Night. We want the march to be bigger, to be louder. And so we're going to need a lot more placards, more paint, and probably more biscuits as we build the placards. And we do want men to get involved in that. Yeah. So if you're listening now thinking, I can do that, then look out for, what's going to happen across campus and come and get involved.
Yeah, we're also having meetings every single 2 weeks to continue focusing on gender-based violence, what we're going to do for it. So it's a really good opportunity to get involved.
Great stuff. I think what really means is that...
Do you want to start with the introduction of what gender-based violence is? Is there anybody?
I think you've got the best person here.
It means that violence and abuse is directed at people of a certain gender. So I'll start the conversation as I always do, because people listening, whenever I start talking about gender-based violence, people will say, but Gill, you're concentrating on male violence towards women, and men are victims too. My argument to that is, yes, that's true. Yep. Men are victims of abuse and violence, but predominantly, if you look at the statistical data, men fall victim to male violence more than they do female violence. Female violence is a very small percentage, and the World Health Organization and the United Nations are really clear. Mm-hmm. Gender-based violence is violence and abuse aimed at women because they are women. So that covers all sorts of things from physical, sexual, psychological, financial. So all sorts of definitions of gender-based violence, and we'll cover things like female genital mutilation, forced marriages, so-called honour-based killings, etc. Yeah, and can include things like coercive control, controlling behaviours, of which gaslighting is one of those. So it's a very broad, wide definition, thankfully now, because we have the research that's really clear about the complexity of it.
Yeah.
And once you understand the complexity of it, you can then stop asking the question, why don't women just leave?
It's not statutory definition. That is,
There's
isn't it?
of GBV, and there's a statutory definition now in this country. It took till 2021 to get it.
Wow.
Of domestic abuse, which includes FGM, forced marriages, and so-called honour-based killings. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what
Yeah.
is so, like Jill said, the statistics are not reducing, is increasing with every single day. That's why it's so important, what happened in last November, 16 days of activism, and what is going to happen is purely to raise awareness. And when we talk about raising awareness, we look at the demographics, we look at people from different cultures, we look at people from different religion, because we people are so diverse. We are from so many different parts of the world, and looking at
Beautiful melting pot, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we got cultures, then we got subcultures, then we got religious, and then we got within the religion the different school of thoughts.
Yeah.
And how how people are perceiving, what is the understanding, and what can we do to make a difference. So we could, that sense why the census, recent census says that 26%, 26.5%, don't correct, please Google it if I'm sure it's 26, but it's the Pakistani population in Bradford. So when we look at the statistic, we talk about the referral rates. We look at the, hard to reach communities. There's language gets used, hard to reach, or they're not engaging. So that's one thing we did, didn't we, while we were planning, is what can we do to raise awareness about domestic violence, about 16 days of activism in an accessible format.
Absolutely. I mean, the government has said that this is a national emergency and they want to halve prevalence rates within 10 years. It's a big ask. But when you think about that every 30 seconds in West Yorkshire, there is a 999 call about domestic abuse. Every 30 seconds.
That is insane.
And that West Yorkshire is the second biggest county.
Yeah. And then when, we think about, I'm obviously in social work, when we think about social work in Bradford, domestic abuse is in within 90% of those cases. So there's a huge problem. And I think the 16 days of activism, as we were developing it and coming together to think about what messages we wanted to reach out to the community to say, these are the statistics. Is this good enough for where you live, for how we want to be? And as a community, as a city, as a country, are we happy that 3 women a week are dead and that 6 to 10 are taking their own life, committing suicide? And the answer, obviously, for most of us is absolutely no. And I think a society that aims to lift women out of such violence, everybody wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. And therefore, if we want a society that has a lack of violence, then we need to come together. Black, white, purple, pink, male, female. We need to come together, and that's how we shape the 16 days, really trying to get everybody to have a voice.
Absolutely. And then when we talk about these statistics every 30 seconds, not many people know that this statistic gets shared to the certain people, or certain people would actually Google it or made aware. So how do we bring this information to raise awareness to somebody who doesn't speak English, is not their first language? So this is where Mohammed Idrees came. That's why he was saying, hang on a minute, something needs to be different. We could have done all this within these 4 walls and it would have stayed local. It would have never made global. From local to global, this is where you came, Mohammed Idrees, didn't you?
Yes, so activities were already happening within the boundaries, premises of university, but we tried to take it to spread it globally. So majority of people living in Bradford, their first language is not English. So this message, powerful message, must be conveyed to them. So that was my personal idea, how to convey that message in their own language, Urdu, Potwari, Punjabi. So about 6 to 7 televisions were involved, and we covered in different languages, plus print media and social media and mainstream media. So I was really impressed with your work and idea, and I wanted to participate personally with my team. The famous saying is, behind every successful man, there is a woman.
Always.
But it has long shaped our perceptions of gender role. However, the objective of this campaign was to challenge and reshape this narrative.
Yeah.
The focus was on the idea that a man behind every successful woman was just as important. One who provides protection, safety, guidance, mutual respect, and holistic support. I have family, I have daughter, I have nieces.
Yeah.
So I'm the man protector for them. I have to protect women. I have to protect my daughters, my sisters, and family members. Not only family members, every woman is my responsibility.
Yeah.
And how to protect them. Statistics are very, very alarming, but we are not aware of the reality, what's happening. And once we become aware of these statistics and reality, then it's our responsibility to step in, to play our own role, to be part of this campaign collectively and individually. So that was the inspiration behind my role, to become part of your campaign and spread the message to Asian community through radio and television and print media.
I just think you did that superbly well. It went beyond our dreams, I think, in terms of how far that went. And really powerful words there, Idrees, in terms of responsibility, male responsibility. Because when men say it's their duty to protect, we need to think protect against what or who, and often as a father, as an uncle, you're aware of the capability of other men and that other men don't always respond and act like you do with respect. And therefore you're protecting against other men. So men have a crucial role in the 16 days of activism and throughout every calendar year to be alert to dangers, to also step in. We did a lot in terms of the campaign, in terms of bystander intervention. Some of the language, the flippant microaggressions, what there's called in colleges and schools as rape culture. Oh, it's just lads. Boys will be boys. All of that has to be challenged.
Yeah.
And we need to do that on campus, nationally. 1 in 3 women on campuses up and down the country are sexually assaulted. It's not good enough. So part of this campaign, which our VC supported along with our senior exec team, was that, we want to make not only our campus as safe as possible, but we want to make Bradford as safe as possible, the UK as safe as possible, but to get that message across through to Pakistan and other countries too, where women sometimes have very different roles. Because of culture and perhaps religion. And therefore, we need to challenge, but challenge respectfully. And to consider what sort of role women should take in society and how they need to be protected to be able to do that.
Also, with the protection, we need to empower the women as well to understand the different dimension of the world, of local community, of global community responsibility. And also we need to raise awareness about men being victims.
Yeah.
It's not only like protecting women, it's protecting the humanity. It includes men as well. So we have to look at different angles. So many stories, so many realities are hidden realities. We need to discuss and address those reality as well through media and through these kind of campaigns.
And I think the activities across those 16 days revealed the prevalence, because we had the symbol of I am strong across the atrium, which we invited young women to write on something that they felt was really important, that signified for them the experience of male violence towards women and girls. And so they wrote very powerful things on the I Am Strong, what would we call it? It's not a statue, but the wording with 5-foot wooden sort of thing that will be brought out again. And men were invited to come and write something that impacted them.
Yeah.
And I think what we found is whatever woman you talk to, she will have some experience, whether that's being whistled at in the street, followed, harassed, being looked at in a certain way, to obviously the more extreme sexual assault, rape, etc. It's a very common experience, and it's our daily life in terms of trying to keep ourselves safe.
I think this is where the privileges come in, being physically strong, having a different physique, biological differences, which automatically make you vulnerable. Being a male, if you walk out 2:00 in the morning for a jog, can a woman do the same 2:00 in the morning?
Without being absolutely terrified.
Yeah. Or walking in the car park, like that type of thing. So there are privileges. And like Gill said in the start, it's really important to raise awareness around all the sectors and keeping all the stakeholders involved and listening to them. And then, 100% we agree with what Idrees said. And it needs to be included, but we need to sort of give you
I did have a question. So I wanted to know, what have you learned as an organizer for the 16 days of activism since this very beginning?
Good question.
That's a really good question. I've learned that you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
It's like anything, you need a community around you. You also need people who share your passion and your energy, because my God, does it take a lot to be able to formulate and organize 16 days. That's not to say we had something on every day, but we were very busy. That you need to rely on people to do what you've asked them to do and hope that they do it. And I think you need to keep your energy high and become infectious, so that other people want to get involved. They can see what's happening. They like your energy. They commit to thinking that. I think as well, what I've learned is you have to start small. Yeah. And male violence towards women and girls has always been here since patriarchy began. But we can make together little steps forward. And when we come together, change can happen, and that's the beauty of it. So you need energy, dedication. You need to be able to ignite that enthusiasm in others and encourage. I think what Samea, Idrees and I have done is encourage students to really get involved and go, no, you can do it.
Yeah.
I want to do an activity, Gill. Do it. But I'm shy, but I'm a bit frightened. No, give it a go. And what's been beautiful is just being able to watch students who've never done anything like this before really gain a phenomenal amount of confidence just in approaching other students, getting them involved in activities, filming something or hosting something. And before you know it, they're learning all sorts of phenomenal skills that you need out there in the big wide world once you've got your degree. So it does lots of things. It's not just about campaigning. You can take those skills that you've learned and transfer them into the workplace. And it's just been lovely to see students grow in confidence and passion and want to make a difference, because we need people like that in the community.
Yeah.
I think what I learned is because it's happening, and there's some sort of being a female. I'm a domestic violence survivor. I don't know, not many people use the word survival.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a point I was almost homeless.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
And when somebody talks about it, when you've been through it, when you've been through the court cases, when you stood in front of the judge and all the psychological, emotional abuse and you doing a law, Kamal, it's evidence.
That's it.
You have to present an evidence in front of the judge. How do you evidence psychological abuse? How do you evidence gaslighting? How do you evidence emotional, spiritual abuse? How do you evidence it? Not every bruise is visible. Some bruises are on your soul. So I think a lot of the students, we had a student who shared she got raped.
Yeah.
And she told her mom, and her mom said, it's your fault. You shouldn't have gone there.
Wow.
So everybody who got involved, like Gill said, has some sort of passion to stop another woman going through the pain, another woman to go through the same abuse, a fear of, being homeless, no employment, and you're so vulnerable. So what you want to do, you want to make a difference. A lot of the time there's been a misunderstanding around the 16 days that why we got media involved. They probably thought like we're raising our profiles.
Yeah.
No, that's not the case. There is a lot of bruises, hidden bruises on the soul, which may have not healed yet. And we mask them. So this 16 days of activism gave the opportunity for the students, for the academics, for the stakeholders from all communities, whether they're male or female, to find that therapeutically healing process. This 16 days was not just the United Nations initiative. It was very, very personal to everybody. Very personal. That was a human, what Idrees said before, humanity. All the people who were involved in the last 16 days of activism were human at that time, and they felt the pain and they did whatever they could do to stop the pain happening to another person. We had, the president of the Law Society sharing how you go through the, criminal justice or seeking justice. We had Abbas Najib, the CEO of the community, Better Communities, who gave us £1,800 to have the food, to have the trophies, to fund whatever we needed to fund. Because another significant thing happened in 16 days of activism. Not even a single event was done without food. Maslow's hierarchy, basic physiological need. If somebody's hungry, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to be focused. The way our body need food, same time our brain and our soul need some good, healthy food. And that's what happened. The soul and the mind got reassurance. Somebody at the university doing something to save our daughters, our future generation, and bringing our fellow female sisters, the pain to raise awareness, like, come and do something. Somebody's, it's not, like I said, not all bruises are seen on the face. So, what we're doing. So that's what we learned, is a passion. Second thing we learned, that people who were passionate, they stayed up till 3:00 in the morning to complete the
Don't
logistic.
talk to me about health and safety.
So we have to do the form filling, whatever
Of
profession
course.
you are in. So I think the big round of applause goes to Rifat Bashir from the EDI department, who stayed up with us till 3:00 in the morning to
What a
fill
woman.
the forms. What a woman. What a woman. We had support from, I just want to personally say thank you to Idrees, because during them 16 days, I had 3 surgeries on my eye. And the reclaim night, I got discharged from the hospital operation theatre, and I came straight here, which caused me a huge sort of this is how important it was. And giving me lift, taking me home. There's a lot of support people have put through. So like Gill said, infectious. There are some people who you're just so infectious to, they just come and help you. On reclaim night, everybody was busy walking down. I was about to fall, and somebody held me, and I'm like, thank you so much. You didn't go back. Big shout out to my brothers. They funded. They sponsored my event. They provided. I wasn't allowed to drive, bringing me here to make sure things are getting done. It's all them beautiful men. Tasif Khan, Ikram Bo, Hafiz Azad from the Al Hiram Mosque, telling that there's a lot of Islamophobia, and recently what's been happening across this country, it's really scary. Racism and Islamophobia at its highest.
Abnormal.
And that's going to top up the domestic violence. I feel scared. Like you wear hijab, Komal. It's scary to walk well, I've seen so many flags.
An interesting thing as well from the police statistics, because we have a lot of white men, skinheads and the like, marching with the chant, save our women, save our children, that nonsense. Yeah, as if those seeking asylum are here to rape and pillage. But from recent police statistics, up to 2/3 of those white men chanting such things have actually got offences of domestic abuse. So they're not protecting women and they're not protecting children. In fact, they're absolutely doing the opposite.
Yeah, it seems like they're just...
Yeah, there's a Muslim girl got raped in Birmingham by the white Sikh woman. Got raped by...
It was racially motivated.
Motivated.
So we're struggling here right now, aren't we, in the country with the rise of hate crime and particularly racism, and domestic abuse, unfortunately, underpins a lot of that.
Yeah. Hate crimes, it's just all interlinked.
Yeah.
So this is where we need media more than ever this time, Idrees.
Of course, media will be part of your campaign this year as well. But the best thing I think I noticed last year campaign was inclusion. Religious people, political people, sports person like Ikram Bhatt and Tasif Khan, Maulana Hafiz, Muhammad Azad Sahab, and the local community was involved. So it's all about your leadership. You included people from different backgrounds. First to understand the purpose of your campaign, then spread it
Absolutely.
to community from different platforms.
Yes, yeah.
From mosques, from madaris, from school, colleges, and local setups, and from media as well.
And that's one of the campaign hashtags that I think we have, which is it's everybody's business.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's everybody's.
100%.
And therefore we have to engage, the Roma community, Muslim community, Christian community, every walk of life, because it is in every community. And I think, the current racism is pointing its finger at very vulnerable groups. Well, not on our watch. Yeah. The 16 days of activism is not about that. It's about saying it's everybody's business, and actually take a look at yourself. Because I was saying, I'm lucky. I have a number of good men in my life. Yeah. But I say to them, and I said to the team, and I have male colleagues, it's not enough for you to look at yourself and go, yeah, but I'm not one of those men. I'm a good man. I'm a good man. Because you know what? Good men can do better. Good men can challenge. Good men can be that bystander who intervenes. That good man can educate others, can go into communities and spread that word. So it's not enough to just sit and go, yeah, but that wouldn't be me. There is more that you can do. And this, women are the victims. It's not up to us to sort this. We need to be able to do that together.
What are some things that you think that men should do to support women in these situations?
I know so many people who suffer from emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse, but they bounce back with their determination, with their power, with their knowledge, and they prove themselves that they are part of this society and they are doing things for themselves or their children. They survived and they have proven themselves that they have respect in this society. So I salute them. There are so many close friends of mine and colleagues. They suffered all sort of abuses, but they bounce back. I salute them. And being a man, we should support them. We should empower them. What happened has happened. Now this is your life. This is your present and future.
Yeah.
So men around you are supportive. They will protect you and they will provide you all the facilities to empower you to get somewhere where you always dreamt about.
I think that's a really good point. And to bounce back, survivors or victims of said violence need the right amount of support. The right level of interventions. It shouldn't be a postcode lottery. You know, a lot of the charities that are working in the surrounding area, whether it's Huddersfield, Bradford, Leeds, always need more money. They haven't got sufficient to be able to be there for everyone. But I think as well, one of the things that we need to concentrate on is not just victims and survivors, because what we need to do is to hold perpetrators to account. You know, so in terms of what can men do, we have to hold perpetrators to account. There has to be a criminal justice system that works, where we're not, you know, tapping men who have raped on the back of the hand going, don't do it again. We have 800,000 disclosures of rape in this country per year. 800,000. And that's the tip of the iceberg, because most women choose not to disclose. And I think one of the things we need to do better at is the shame and blame that victims feel, where fingers are wagged at them. You know, so rape victims. So what were you wearing? How much had you had to drink? Why were you walking alone in the dark? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
None of those are a reason why a woman was raped. A woman was raped because a man raped her. And therefore, we have to be really clear about where blame lies and where the shame should lie. And what we have at the minute is only 1.5% of cases brought to the criminal justice system lead to a conviction. 1.5%. 800,000 disclosed rapes, 1.5%. So what we need is much more efficient systems, like a criminal justice system. We need more training within police so that they work more sympathetically and empathetically, more specialised in working in this area of rape and sexual assault and domestic abuse. And we need to work together to try and make that happen. But holding perpetrators to account is a must, whilst we also work with victims of survivors to help them bounce back. But no use bouncing back if we're not doing anything about those who perpetrate. That's got to be our concentration, which means men need to challenge men. Men need to get actively involved, whether that's in certain perpetrator programs or in their local communities, to look at how do we enable women to feel more safe. You know, because you were talking about, you know, we can't go out at 2 a.m. running because it wouldn't feel safe. One of the exercises that we did in the 16 days was, if men were locked up for 24 hours, what would you do?
We'd have the time of our lives.
And that is exactly the truth.
Yeah.
But it was the simple things.
Yeah.
I would run at night. I would walk home. The
I'd go on the
things
bus,
that lots of men, not all men, but lots of men take for absolute granted.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to walk to my car with my keys in my hand. I could put both of my earphones in rather than just the one. I could dance naked in the street if I so wanted, because I'm going to be safe to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think men need to hear that, to think, wow, those are all things I do without a thought, you know? When we're going anywhere, we have to think, where am I going to park the car? How long's the walk? Where are you going to park your car? Because if I park mine near yours, then we can walk together. Those are everyday things that we do to keep ourselves safe, every day. So we are having to think about keeping ourselves safe, which is something men often do not even have to think about. And so there are lots of things that men can do to help us feel safe. One, they've got to recognize what it's like to be a woman. And it's things like the 16 days that can hopefully help men to realize.
And I think, from my point of view, men in leadership, men who are in a power currently, whether they are in statutory services, public health services, because that's what statistics shows. There is absolute limited and minimum leadership. Like we talked about our Vice Chancellor Shirley Cogden, the first ever female at University of Bradford. She's sadly going to be retiring and leaving us, but how long it took her to become a leader. So all the men in leadership need to understand, or if they work in a police force, if they are social workers, if they're making changes, if they're making strategic changes, what can they do to make a difference to communities? Diverse workforce. Do any of these statutory services represent the demographics of its region? Are you recruiting the right people with the right passion? Do they understand? And the majority of the religious institute is actually led by men. So what are they doing to raise awareness culturally, religiously, and most importantly, like you said, it's everybody's business. Like we are so, I just feel so proud to be sitting next to Idrees.
Yeah.
A man who brought other men with him. The media, I didn't know what 16 days is. He didn't know. The reaction I gave to Gill, he gave it to me, and his boys gave it to him. It was a dominoes effect. Like, what? 16? I Googled, then you Googled, then the boys Googled, then we had a discussion, then we had a meetings. So we need to make 16 days of everybody's business.
Yeah.
And it should not be 16 days. So me and Gill, I think, and Idrees, all three of us agreed that it needs to be 365 days.
Yeah, 100%.
If a 30-second call's going, this should be every 30-second campaign. It should be every moment campaign. It should be
everybody's business. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody's business. Yeah.
So you touched upon Professor Shirley Cogden. I just wanted to quickly ask about your opinions about her legacy, because I do know that she has put a lot of time into helping with the gender-based violence, as well as everybody else that has been a part of it. So I wanted to know, what legacy does she leave behind in tackling the gender-based violence and supporting survivors as a woman in leadership?
I think for me, the legacy has been the door's always open. So as soon as she learnt about the fact that we were trying to get the campaign up and running, she was all in and supported it and turned up to the events that we'd asked her to do, to sort of lead, if you like, in terms of her speeches, etc. And I think our VC Shirley has for a long time been instrumental in joining in Reclaim the March. Reclaim the Night, sorry, not Reclaim the March, Reclaim the Night, as has her Pro-Vice Chancellor Udi and some of her senior leadership team. So I think there's been elements of the 16 days of activism that were alive and well before I got to the university. And it's clear that she had that in her heart as something that was really important. And so I think for me, coming and beginning to say, there are 16 days, not necessarily just one or two. Can we do more? It was, what do you want to do? And where do you want to do it?
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Would we have the same if it had been a man? I don't know.
That's it, isn't it?
I don't know. There are some fabulous men in leadership who might have got it. But I think when you're talking to a woman about these issues, then it becomes an easier conversation.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask, what kind of leadership is needed now to keep pushing for a safer and more supportive environment?
I think, first of all, Shirley, I totally agree with what Gill said. Absolutely. I just want to second it. Open door policy, when we were recording, for example, the messages to go onto the screens. She just came back from we had a very recent City of Culture, Bradford 2025. She came back from a very busy meeting. It was late in the evening after 5, and we just knocked, and she was like, yeah, come in. Let me just put lipstick on. And we recorded it. We took a few takes, Idrees. Me and Idrees went, and she's just always so lovely. Just so welcoming. And you know what? She never questioned about risk assessment. How are you going to do it? What are you going to do it? Yeah, Shirley, we need you to be here. They're like, hey, I'll be there. She never asked a question. Yeah. She's got such a faith. She's got strong faith and confidence in her staff and in students. She's more keen to her students. She absolutely loves UBU. She never missed any of UB. So she's, I would love her, even if she's leaving, I would love her to support us to make this 365. That's her message. That's my message. That's Idrees' and Gill's message.
Yeah.
So what was your second part?
So it was just about
The new leadership.
Yeah.
The new leadership, I think
What is it that we need to
we
make it more safe?
we need the new leadership to have absolute full understanding of 16 days of activism,
Yeah.
human rights,
That is the very first step.
demographics of Bradford. We need them to be culturally and religiously sensitive. We need new leadership to be a leader, not management. There's a huge difference between a manager and a leader. A manager manages. We don't need anybody to manage us. We are very competent and confident. We need a leadership who empowers us. We need a leadership who would provide us new opportunities, financial opportunities, funding, platform. Take us to horizons.
Yeah.
That's the message.
Be inspirational.
Be inspiration. Inspire us. When you walk in the new leadership, this is a message for you, whoever's going to be the new vice chancellor. When you walk in, like Gill said, be infectious.
Infectious. Yeah.
Just inspire us, please. So come in this university that every student was, I want to be like them.
Yes. Because I bet every single person would love to be like Shirley.
Yeah.
So awareness of cultural needs of Bradford,
Yeah.
religious needs, and sensitivity of Bradford community.
Yeah.
It is truly multicultural city, and it has been awarded City of Culture.
Yeah.
So the leadership must be aware of all the dynamics and all aspects and needs of multi-faith community living in Bradford.
And it's the youngest city.
Yes, that's it.
It's the youngest city in the United Kingdom, isn't it? So somebody needs to be, that energy level who can, and we are this university is fought on a social mobility.
Yeah.
So the new leadership need to be just recognize all this,
Yeah.
the significant, important things which no other city has, no other university has.
What makes us different?
What
That's
makes
it,
us,
isn't it?
we need to work to stand out from outstanding.
Wonderful. Well, my last question, I asked this to all my guests. What is one message that you want people to listen to and take away about gender-based violence and activism from each one?
Jill?
It's everybody's business. And you shouldn't have to only be interested in this if something unfortunately happens to your daughter, your sister, your mother, your niece. It should matter that it's happening to women because we're important. In fact, we're vital. And for men, you wouldn't be here without us giving birth. So
Exactly.
protect, honour, respect. It is your business. Please get involved.
Thank you, Gill. What about Samea?
My message is, being a proud Muslim, Pakistani heritage woman, my religion, Islam, says the heaven lies beneath a mother's feet, and a mother is a female. Islam has given the highest rank to a woman. That just needs to be implemented.
Yeah.
And I would urge people to learn the difference between culture and religion, please, because Islam is a religion of peace.
That is the biggest thing,
Yeah.
definitely. Idrees?
Yes, as Samia mentioned that it's a peace. The message is for peace, for protection, for empowerment of men and women, and to have respect regardless gender. We are equal. And it should not be 16 days only. It should be 365 days. Protection, empowerment, and respect.
Thank you very much to Gill, Samea, and Idrees for coming onto the podcast today. That's a wrap for today's episode. And remember, everybody has a role to play in shaping our society, and the journey does not stop here. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep on making a difference. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Her Side of Campus.